So the first thing I'm doing is applying a moisturizer and a primer to her face, and I'm doing this with a brush because you want to touch her skin as little as possible with your hands. And this is also going to allow it to absorb into her skin while I'm doing her eye makeup. So I'm just applying tape right underneath her eye to help catch any fallout and also give us a nice, clean, sharp line for when we do her smoky eye. And then I'm applying a primer to her eyelids to prep for the eyeshadow. This is going to prevent any sort of creasing with her eyeshadow, and it's also going to make her makeup last longer. For her eyes, I'm using the Naked palette from Urban Decay, and I'm applying the shade Nude all over her crease as a transition color. And then I'm going to go back in with Buck to deepen it up just a little bit. In with the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette by Morphe, and I'm using a cranberry color and applying that all over to the outer crease and also the outer V of her eye. Then I'm applying a little bit of black eyeshadow to the outer V of her eye as well, just to deepen it up and get us ready for that smoky eye effect. Using that same nude shade from before and blending that into the upper crease just to make sure that everything is nice and blended. And then going in with that same cranberry color on top of the black shade to give it a warm effect. And then you're just going to go in with a clean, fluffy brush and blend everything out. For the lid color, I'm using Makeup Geek Foiled Eyeshadows in the shade Grandstand, and I'm applying that all over the center of the lid. And then I'm going to go back in with the shade Starry Eyed and apply that to the inner corner. And again, I'm just going in with a clean, fluffy brush and making sure that everything is blended. Next, I'm going to be filling in her brows using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade Taupe. And this is a really great color for blondes and also light brown shades. And when you're filling in eyebrows, you want to make sure you're using really small strokes so that you can mimic the look of eyebrow hair. Going back in with this spoolie brush to make sure that that inner corner is nice and soft because we do not want that to be too dark. And then I'm just using a clear brow gel to make sure that the eyebrows stay in place. Next, I'll be using a gel liner to do her wing, and this is something that definitely takes time to perfect. So if you're just starting out doing makeup on other people, I think the wings, if you're doing a wing liner, is definitely one of the hardest things to do. Then I'm using the same black shade from before to create more of that smoky effect on the outer corner. Then I'm just going to remove the tape and clean up any fallout before I apply the foundation. For her foundation, I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and I'm just applying that using a damp beauty blender. Then I'm just going to go back and apply a little bit more foundation where more coverage is needed. Next, I'm I'm going in with the Morphe Color Correcting Palette and applying a little bit of that salmon shade underneath her eyes to correct any of her dark circles. And then to highlight, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Kit. And to contour, I'll be using that same palette in the darkest shade. And you're going to want to apply this to the areas of the face that you want to carve out or make look smaller. I'm first going to start out by blending the highlight, and I'm just going to be using a damp beauty blender to do this. And to blend out the contour, I like to use a MAC 130 brush. It just works a lot better for me, and I feel like I have more control than the beauty blender. After the contour is all blended out, I'm going to go back in with my beauty blender to make sure everything is nice and soft. Next, I'm going in with the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder, and I'm applying this to all of the areas that I previously highlighted. I like to leave this on while doing the under eye area so that if there is any fallout, it can just be dusted away. So for the under eye area, I'm using that same cranberry shade from the Morphe palette before and applying that using a flat definer brush and then going in with a pencil brush and smoking everything out. And then I'm just going to dust off all of the excess powder. Bronzer, I'm using the Kat Von D Shade Light palette in the lightest shade and just applying that to all of the contoured areas. And then for her blush, I just mixed a few shades together from the BH Cosmetics Pro Blush palette. Next, I just applied the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara to prep for false lashes. For lashes, I'm just applying the Ardell Demi Wispies, and when doing false lashes on someone else, you always want to check and make sure that they're comfortable and that nothing is poking them. Then I'm just going to be curling her lashes to make sure that they all blend together and give a really natural look. And then I'm just going back and coating her lower lashes with the same mascara. For her highlight, I'm using the Becca Cosmetics Champagne Pop collaboration with Jaclyn Hill, and I'm applying this to all of the high points of her face, which include her cheekbones, the bridge of her nose, and her cupid's bow. For her lips, I am applying a Milani lip liner in the shade Spice, and then I'm just going to fill in her lips completely with that. Once I'm done filling in her lips, I'm going to be applying the Kat Von D liquid lipstick in the shade Lolita, and then once that is finished, this look is done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys liked this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!
Ridiculous? No, it looks good, like when you're like having a fan. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. You can't like laugh. I can't really. I can't. Fuck. It's just like awkward. Like it'd be fine if you weren't standing right there. Put me in a 350. I can't go everywhere. Katie's like banging my head. Now look back at the camera. Now touch your hair back. Ew. Sorry. Supermodel. So pretty. She gonna need something pretty.